Welcome back to the Montgomery Companies podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery, and today I get to interview and spend time with a dear friend who I've known for quite some time. We live in a similar space, but I got to tell you, she is so effective. She's taught me so much, and professionally, she is on a roll. She's got a new book out. We're going to tell you all about it. Can't wait to dive in with my good friend, Nicole Kalil. Nicole just wrote the book, Validation is for Parking. What you need to know about Nicole is she's a coach, she's a speaker. She is also now an author, and she's got a new book, Validation is for Parking. Let me tell you about that book. Here's what Nicole says about Validation is for Parking. Confidence is the bridge to better relationships, more success, and loving the life you live. Women's lack of confidence is apparent in the business world, but this issue touches more than just our careers. It's a problem that ripples out into every corner of our lives, contributed to everything we are, think, have, and do. It does not have to be this way. I wrote this book, she says, for this exact reason, so we can all beat the confidence con. Here to talk about beating the confidence con is my good friend, Nicole Kalil. Thanks for being with us.
Jordan, thank you so much for having me. There's no place I'd rather be.
Well, this is so fun. And listen, I know you've got like 5 podcasts today, and everybody wants you on their show, but today we get you on our show. And I'm excited to learn from you. I'm excited to spend time with you. Tell our listeners, why did you write this book? What inspired you to write Validation is for Parking?
So a few reasons. As you know, everything we do, there's always a few contributing reasons. Number one, always wanted to write a book. It's been on my bucket list for as long as I can remember. I'm an avid reader, love books. So that was just something I always wanted to do. Why this particular book is because over my professional career, I became obsessed with confidence. What builds it, what derails it, what it actually is, what it isn't. Because early on in my career, I knew the power of being confident. You couldn't go anywhere without having somebody tell you to be confident. What was missing for me was somebody to guide me and give me actionable steps on how you actually build it. So that's a big reason. And then the third one is, and I always say this, I do not advocate for women at the expense of men. Having said that, I am mindful that as of last year, 92% of business books are being written by men. And my experience, and so many women's experiences when they go into the professional world, is their mentors, their coaches, their leaders are very often men. And so what we are doing is we're learning about how to be professional. We're learning about how to be successful. We're learning how to be confident, mostly from the masculine lens. And again, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying it's imbalanced. And so I really wanted to write this book for anyone of all genders, but really with women in mind, because I wanted to bridge what I perceive to be a gap.
Well, there is a gap, and it's a staggering statistic that 92% of all books written in the leadership space are written by men. And you're right. I think, in the corporate world, all too often, people with a positional title or who are in a position of influence are in today's world men. I know you're all about tools and you're about actionable steps. And you wrote this book not just to inspire, but to equip. So let's get into some of those tools and actionable steps. Where do we start, Nicole? If we want to grow in our confidence, build true confidence, where does that begin?
Yeah, so I identified 5 confidence builders. There's probably more than that, but I think these are the most universal and the ones that produce the quickest results, which is obviously what we're all looking for, right? In today's day and age, we want effective and efficient. So these 5 confidence builders, I think, are those. The first one, and I know you will agree with me on this one, is action. Action builds confidence. You can't hope your way into it. You can't think or research your way into it. The way we build confidence is by getting into action. One foot in front of the other, one action step built on top of the other, one little risk over and over leads to big confidence. So action builds confidence. If you take nothing away from our time together other than that, take that. That was a really important thing, especially for those of us who are overthinkers or worriers or researchers. The way we build confidence is action. The second and probably most surprising confidence builder. And when I say most surprising, it took me a couple years to actually, figure out and buy into the fact that this was a confidence builder, because it's so opposite of what I felt and had been told my whole life. Failure is the second confidence builder. And I use the word failure because it typically gets a strong reaction, but you can replace that with any word: failure, mistakes, loss, fear, doubt, all the kind of icky feelings we experience. Those things are confidence builders. And here's why. Confidence is when you trust yourself. And we can talk about this a little later. I talk about the confidence con, and that's all the misinformation, false information, mixed messages we get about what confidence actually is. So I want to be really clear. Confidence is when you trust yourself firmly and boldly. And so if you think about failure, mistakes, loss, and why these are confidence builders, it's because it's in those moments that trusting ourselves requires something deeper, more meaningful, and ultimately more lasting. It's easy to trust ourselves when everything's going according to plan. It's easy to trust ourselves when we're winning. It's easy to trust ourselves, when we get the results and the achievements and all of that. It's when the what hits the fan. It's when the plan goes out the window. It's when things are not working the way you thought, you're not getting the results. That is where choosing to trust ourselves is so much harder, and therefore that much more impactful. So real, lasting, deep confidence gets built in the tough times. Now, I want to be clear, just because I know that my confidence gets built in those tough times doesn't mean that those experiences suck any less. I don't like experiencing failure any more than anyone else. I don't enjoy when I've made a huge mistake or anything like that. It feels awful. But what I try to tell myself in those moments are two things. First and foremost, failure is neutral. I'm the one bringing meaning to the event. And if that's true, I can choose a more productive and more empowered meaning. I can see it as a gift. I can see it as an opportunity. I can see it as a lesson. I can see it as one door closing so many more can open. I have choice about how I interpret my failure. The second thing I always tell myself in those moments where I feel awful is the only thing that's missing is hindsight. Because I think you would say this too, Jordan, would be my guess, is if you look back on the failures, the mistakes, the losses, the hard times, with the benefit of hindsight, we can look back and see what purpose they served. We can see how they worked for our favor or for the betterment of our lives or ourselves. And so when I'm in it and I'm feeling the not so fun feelings, I just tell myself over and over, the only thing that's missing right now is that benefit of hindsight. I don't yet know how this is going to serve me. I don't yet know how this is going to propel me, but I can trust, again, confidence is trust, that it will. So I'm just going to pause. Those are the first two.
So good.
Confidence builders, action and failure.
I love that. Our good friend, mutual friend, Heather Monahan always talks about taking messy action. So I think to your point, so many of us are paralyzed by overthinking, overanalyzing. We've always said done is better than perfect. And we just want to build the plane as we fly it, right? Parts might fall off and you might hit a storm. But as long as it doesn't completely crash and fall apart, we're all good. So take messy action. I love what you said about action. And then I love what you said about failure. Failure is neutral. We're the one that brings meaning to the event. I think John Maxwell said it like this. He said, adversity does not build character. Adversity builds character if you allow it to. It's still a choice. There's still a process of choice involved in failing forward and allowing your failure to build true confidence. Keep going. So we're 2 in. We got 3 more to go. We're learning here, Nicole, and this is heavy note-taking time. So hit us with number 3.
Okay. Confidence builder number 3 is giving grace on the journey. So it's kind of a 2-parter. First, acknowledgement that confidence building will only ever always be a journey, right? Nobody arrives at confidence, plants a flag, and it's like, whoo, I'm done. Right. That'd be awesome. It just doesn't work that way. So, confidence building is a journey, and you'll have steps forward, steps back, and that's part of the deal. Because of that, we must give ourselves grace. And I would frame it in this way: the way we speak to ourselves, the things we say to ourselves about ourselves really matter. And so I put it in this, container of giving ourselves grace. But really what I'm talking about is managing the voice in our mind. There's a meme that I love. It says, you spend the bulk of your life inside your own head. You might as well make it a nice place to be. And that's what we're really talking about here. So being kind and loving to yourself, that doesn't mean you don't challenge yourself, but you can challenge yourself in a kind and loving way. I always think about it this way. Would I say what I'm saying to myself to somebody I love? Would I say it to my husband? Would I say it to my child? Would I say it to my best friend? And if the answer is no, then I shouldn't be saying it to myself, because I should first and foremost be somebody that I love. So giving yourself grace on the journey is number 3.
Giving yourself grace on the journey. And I think especially in a world where, and if people are listening to this, they are a high achiever, they're committed to personal development, leadership development. You and I share this in common, Nicole, that we're both type A. So we're drivers, and there's a lot of gold in being a driver, but there's also some shadow to being a driver. And sometimes it's that we don't give ourselves the grace that maybe we need to give ourselves. So can so much relate to that one. Confidence builder number 4. Here we go.
Choosing confidence. Now you might be thinking, what? Like, that's sort of an oversimplification, but I think this is important. I want to make the distinction. So many of us think that confidence is a feeling. I'm telling you that confidence is a choice. So I hear this expression a lot in business and heard it in my own journey: fake it till you make it. I would replace that forever. Because first of all, telling people to fake something doesn't really work as it relates to confidence, because what we're telling people to do is be inauthentic. And as you might imagine, that does not help you trust yourself. What I would replace it with is choose it until you become it. Ooh. Choose confidence over and over again, second by second, minute by minute, whatever it takes, until the feeling catches up. And it will. And here's the thing that I love about choosing confidence. First, being able to witness and experience it has been one of life's greatest gifts. You know this, when you work with people and they're not really feeling it, they have the overthinking going on, they're worried, they're not in the best place, but then they go and take action and they choose confidence and they show up as their best selves. The power in that moment and the trust that it builds is really incredible. The other thing I would say is we're doing this far more often in our lives than we give ourselves credit for. We both have children. If we have a really crappy day and we're feeling kind of low, we have a tendency to clean ourselves off and dust ourselves off when we get in front of our children. If we had a really bad meeting or interaction at work, and then we have to go into a next meeting, we, show up as our best selves. So we are doing this often in our lives, but I want to make the connection and the awareness of that you're actually choosing confidence and that you can do that anytime you want.
So good. Confidence is a choice. And you're right. I think a lot of us think about it as a feeling, think about it as an emotion, and it's not, it's a choice. I would agree with you on that. Confidence builder number 5.
It's building it internally. So much of the messaging we receive is that confidence will come to us from some external source. I call this the false equation. It looks like this: if X happens, then I'll feel confident. And you can fill in the blank with any X. If I hit a certain level of income, if I get a certain achievement or promotion, if the scale says a certain number, or I fit into a certain size, if my children are perfectly well behaved, fill in the blank. If X happens, then I'll feel confident. That's a false equation that unfortunately will never work. If X happens, you may feel happy or successful or momentarily, gratified, or whatever the case may be. But if you're using that to bring you confidence, you're going to end up becoming addicted to X, right? So if I think if I just meet the person of my dreams, then I'll feel confident, then I become addicted to finding the person of my dreams. And I'm giving my power and my confidence over to someone else. And trust me, our confidence is not living out there. No one or nothing is holding on to our confidence. And it's not some weird life game of Where's Waldo where we're, trying to find it. Our confidence is inside of us, and it's something that we can build internally, again, anytime we want. So there's lots of ways to do this. I give 10 ways in the book, but what I would invite you to do is think about how you build trust with other people in your life. How do they build trust with you? Therein typically lies the answer of how you would build trust within yourself. So I'll give a couple examples that I think are pretty universal. One way to build internal trust is to keep your commitments. We trust people who do what they say they're going to do. We tend to lose trust with people who constantly don't do what they say they're going to do. So as it relates to building internal trust, this means keeping the commitments we make to other people, but also the commitments we make to ourselves. And we tend to be better about keeping commitments we make to others than we do the ones we make to ourselves. So, for example, if we say we're going to take care of our bodies by eating healthy or by working out or whatever, keeping those commitments is a difference maker in confidence building. It's a difference maker in the trust that we have. So one add-on here is be careful to not overcommit, because sometimes that's the thing that chips away.
Yeah, so good.
Creating and communicating boundaries, standing up for yourself, speaking your truth, being your own hype person. There are so many things that we can do to build trust internally. But again, I would invite you to go back to how people build trust with you, how you build trust with others, and then think about how you can apply that within yourself.
Confidence is an inside game. It's an internal thing for sure. There's a lot of external narratives about what confidence is. And you talk about the confidence con repeatedly. Tell us about the confidence con and why you chose to attack the confidence con.
Yeah. So because I think confidence has become one of these words that we just sort of throw out as a feel-good word, and its meaning has been watered down. And so I went to the etymology of the word, like the actual root of the word, how it translates in all different languages. And that's where it came down to trust, firm, bold trust. That's the root of the word confidence. But I think about the messaging we receive, and that's what I call the confidence con. It's this: if X happens, then I'll feel confident. Think about advertising. If you buy this product, or, buy these shoes, or own this, whatever, drive the right car, then you'll feel confident. And by the way, I'm not suggesting that we should never do those things, or that those things don't feel good or bring some other emotion that's wonderful along. I'm just saying it's not confidence. So if I drive a certain car, I may feel successful. I may feel comfortable. I may feel excited. Nothing wrong with any of those things. But unless that car is helping me build trust in myself, it's just not confidence. I think we get a lot of messaging that confidence has to do with our physical appearance, especially as women, right? If you have a certain body type, then you'll feel confident. If you're ripped and have great abs, then you'll feel confident. And again, nothing wrong with wanting to feel attractive or desirable or healthy or any of those things. I just want to go back to, unless it's building trust within yourself, it's not confidence. So like working out is one of those gray areas. I believe it's a confidence builder because we're keeping the commitments we make to ourselves, because we're prioritizing and valuing ourselves and our body and our health. Those are the things about working out that build confidence. But this confidence con tells us it's the result. It's the how we look, what the scale says, the size, whatever, that it's going to build our confidence. And it's just not that. So I could go on for days.
Yeah,
but those
so
are some
good.
examples of the con.
So in your own personal journey, Nicole, because I know this is something that you work at, you don't just talk about it, you're walking your talk, and you're helping a lot of people specifically in this area, through coaching and speaking and influencing others. In your own personal journey, are there a couple of these areas that have been maybe more important to you, that you've had to work harder at when it comes to, your relationship with failure, it being an eternal game, taking action? Like maybe give us an inside window into your world and your journey and what that's looked like.
All of the confidence builders I leverage on a daily basis. But on a more personal note, I think there are a few things that really impacted my confidence. First, you mentioned this earlier, I'm very much a type A personality. And so For me, it was very much about results and achievement. And I am a results junkie. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And so the shift of trying to seek confidence externally and into building it internally has been a constant challenge. And I still love results. I still love achievement, but being able to trust myself in the absence of, in spite of, and, regardless of the results, that's been a real opportunity. I would also share, as a woman, the unpacking my confidence from my physical appearance has been and still continues to be a journey, because for the bulk of my life, I've been sent the message over and over and over again that the way I look really, really matters. And so, having to unpack holding on to my confidence and understanding that it has nothing to do with that. And then in some situations, wanting to look attractive, wanting to appear successful, wanting to look put together. And it just has, been a little bit of a mind, thing. But I'm working through it and keep choosing confidence, keep giving myself grace, keep using those builders on a regular basis.
The 5 confidence builders, validation is for parking. And it's been a joy to watch you grow in your confidence, as a speaker, as a communicator, a coach. I'll never forget, I got like 2 or 3 text messages at the same time when you were speaking at an event. It was a managing director's conference for a company that we're both really familiar with. And somebody said, this woman has it. Like, she just has it. She's gifted. She's talented. And you delivered a dynamite keynote speech. So you're not just an author. You're a speaker. You're a coach. You're influencing people in a lot of directions. Obviously, this book is being released soon. Anything else that you want people to know about the book? And then I've got another question for you, Nicole. Anything else you want our listeners to know about Validation is for Parking?
Yeah, I want to be upfront. The subtitle is How Women Can Beat the Confidence Con. So, as somebody who identifies as a woman, I wrote this with women in mind. So, if you want to buy it for your spouse, your sister, your daughter, I would be eternally grateful. But I do hope that anybody of any gender would read it and get a ton out of it. In the same way, I read so many books written by men, and I get a ton out of it and apply in my life. So that would be kind of the one thing, that I want to put out there.
Yeah, well, 100%. Like, as I'm, having this conversation with you, and as I study your work, it's funny because I know so much of your work is really in service to women, but I would argue that 100% of your work can be and should be also in service to men. So appreciate who you are so much, my friend. We're going to link all of the social media handles, your social media handles, in our show notes, in addition to your website, in addition to an Amazon link to get more goodness from Nicole Kalil. You can order the book, Validation is for Parking. We're also going to do this. If you email Ashley@montgomerycompanies.com, we're going to send you a copy of this book pre-order for the first 10 people that reach out. So reach out, Ashley@montgomerycompanies.com. We'll send you Nicole's newest book. So you didn't just hear her on a podcast. You can actually dive into the book yourself. Nicole, anything else you want our listeners to know before you sign off about this topic of confidence, or just about Nicole Kalil in general?
Well, first, thank you for that very generous offer. I'm so appreciative. I would leave you with this loving reminder. I think in a world that's so chaotic and so busy, and we've gone through so much, it's sometimes easy to disconnect from ourselves. And so this loving reminder that you are the only you there ever was or ever will be. And that matters. That means you have inherent value, worth, and purpose, and not necessarily just one grand purpose, but your life has meaning and purpose. And I would invite you to listen to that internal voice, whether that's the voice of God from within or your inner knowing or the universe, whatever it is that resonates with you. Listen to that quiet, ever-present voice that we've begun to ignore, and really step in, take action, trust yourself, go out there and do what you're meant to do. The world needs you. The world needs all of us. right now. So that's my kind of final thought.
The world does need all of us, and it needs Nicole Kalil. It needs this book. It needs the content you're putting out into the world. My friend, you are just always a joy to spend time with, and I thank you for investing time in our community, into the people that we care about. All of us got better today as a result of this conversation. I trust that you'll continue to do great work with great confidence, and look forward to seeing you soar for many, many years to come. Thanks for being with us on the Montgomery Companies podcast.
Thank you so much, my friend.
This has been another episode of the Montgomery Companies podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery. I want to say thanks also to John Choate and James Roth of Storyline Multimedia for all of the work that they do behind the scenes to make this episode go. If you enjoy listening to this show, if you're somebody who tunes in once in a while to our podcast, we'd love it if you'd officially subscribe so that we could move our mission of impact forward. This podcast is designed to help the leader go farther, faster. We hope we've done that today. Be well, be great. Have a wonderful day.